They laughed when I got fired. 5 years later, my stepbrother, ex-boyfriend, and aunt are begging because I just bought the bank foreclosing on their homes. Hello, dear ones. Please subscribe, comment a quick hi, and tell us where you're watching from. Now let's continue this journey together. The champagne bottle shattered against my apartment wall the night Aaron told me he was leaving. Not because he didn't love me, he made that clear. He loved my cousin Tasha more. You're always going to be stuck, Kenya, he said, grabbing his last duffel bag. Your aunt was right. You're never going to be nothing but a secretary pretending to be something more. I stood there in my thrift store dress, mascara running, watching the man I'd supported through grad school walk out. The same grad school I'd deferred my own dreams to fund. 3 days earlier, I'd been fired from Henderson and Associates, the boutique investment firm where I'd worked for 6 years. My boss, Mr. Henderson, called me into his office with my stepbrother Devin smirking behind him. We're restructuring, Henderson said. Devin here has an MBA. You have loyalty. But loyalty doesn't drive profits. Devin had joined the firm 8 months prior. I'd trained him myself, shown him every client file, every process. Now he sat in the chair that should have been mine, wearing a suit I knew cost more than my monthly rent. The office erupted in whispers as I packed my desk. My Aunt Gloria, Henderson's personal attorney, walked past without acknowledgement. She'd recommended Devin for the position. She'd also been at Sunday dinner 2 weeks before, watching me serve her plate, accepting my hospitality. At my going-away gathering, if you could call it that, they laughed. Devin made jokes about dead weight and knowing your place. Aaron stood beside Tasha, his hand on her waist. My aunt sipped wine, silent. That night, surrounded by broken glass and broken promises, something crystallized inside me. This wasn't my rock bottom. This was my launching pad. I need you to understand who I was before that night. Who they tried to convince me I'd always be. My mother died when I was 11. Breast cancer, swift and merciless. Dad remarried within 18 months. A woman named Patricia who came with Devin, then 13 and already cruel. Your mama was a secretary too, he told me once. Guess that's all y'all good for. But mama had been more. She'd worked at a small community bank, yes, but she'd taught herself investment strategies, read financial journals late at night. I'd find her notes in the margins of books, calculations about compound interest and portfolio diversification. Baby girl, she'd whisper, money isn't about having it. It's about understanding it. After she died, those books became my Bible. While other kids watched cartoons, I studied her annotations. Patricia threw most of them away during spring cleaning, but I saved 3, hiding them under my mattress like contraband. My Aunt Gloria, Mama's sister, should have protected me. Instead, she blamed Dad for Mama's death, claimed the stress of being married to a no-ambition maintenance man caused the cancer. She tolerated me out of obligation, loved reminding me I had my father's limited potential, not your mother's grace. At Henderson and Associates, I'd started as a receptionist at 19. By 22, I was assisting with client portfolios. By 25, I was the only person Henderson trusted with his highest value accounts. No degree, just instinct and my mother's ghost guiding my hand. But in their eyes, Devin's, Gloria's, Patricia's, I was still that little girl serving plates at Sunday dinner. Still the secretary's daughter. Still less than. That night with the broken champagne bottle, I made a promise to my mother's memory. I would become everything they said I couldn't. The unemployment check wasn't enough. My savings, what little Aaron hadn't borrowed, lasted 6 weeks. I sold everything that wasn't essential. Furniture, jewelry, the vintage record collection Mama left me. Each item felt like shedding dead skin. I moved into a studio apartment in a neighborhood where sirens were lullabies. My neighbor, Mrs. Bolton, was a retired economics professor who'd lost everything in a bad divorce. She saw me reading Mama's old investment books on the building's front steps one evening. You understand what you're reading? She asked, sitting beside me uninvited. Trying to, I admitted. Come upstairs tomorrow. I'll make tea. We'll talk about real wealth building, the kind they don't teach secretaries. Mrs. Bolton became my unexpected mentor. She'd taught at a prestigious university for 30 years, watched countless students, many less talented than her, succeed because they had confidence and connections. Intelligence is common, she told me. Opportunity is not. We're going to create yours. She taught me advanced investment strategies, introduced me to online certification programs I could afford. While my former coworkers, including Devin, posted photos of expensive brunches and vacation homes, I spent 18-hour days studying financial modeling, regulatory compliance, and corporate restructuring. 3 months after being fired, I passed my Series 7 exam. Then Series 63. Then my Certified Financial Planner certification. Mrs. Bolton celebrated each one with her grandmother's tea set and homemade dumplings. "You're ready for the next phase," she said after my last certification. "But you need capital." I had $1,247 in my account. She smiled mysterious. "Then we start small and smart. I'm going to teach you about distressed assets. Properties, businesses, debt portfolios that people abandon. There's gold in other people's garbage, Kenya. You just have to know where to look." That conversation changed everything. Mrs. Bolton wasn't just teaching me finance. She was teaching me to see opportunity in destruction, to build empires from ruins. Mrs. Bolton's nephew, David, worked in property acquisitions for the city. Over dinner at her apartment, he mentioned a portfolio of tax-delinquent properties going to auction. "Mostly garbage," he said, pushing noodles around his plate. "Crack houses, abandoned lots. The city just wants them off the books. Minimum bids are a joke. Some as low as $500. My heart hammered. What's the catch? Back taxes, liens, repair costs. You're buying someone else's nightmare. He looked at me curiously. Why? Just learning, I said casually. That night, Mrs. Bolton and I reviewed the auction list. 73 properties. Most were money pits, but three had potential. Small homes in neighborhoods experiencing early gentrification. The kind of area where a coffee shop opening meant property values would triple in 5 years. I had $1,247. The minimum bid on the most promising property was $800. You'll need money for back taxes, Mrs. Bolton warned. Probably another $2,000. I worked 3 jobs that month. Overnight data entry, weekend catering, and afternoon tutoring. I slept 4 hours a night, lived on rice and beans, walked everywhere to save bus fare. My phone, still on Aaron's family plan, got disconnected. I didn't care. 6 weeks later, I sat in a municipal building with $3,100 in cashier's checks, surrounded by real estate investors in expensive suits. They looked at me, young, black, clearly out of place, with dismissive amusement. When my property came up, I bid. Someone countered. I bid again. The room grew interested. Going once, going twice. 3,000, a voice called. I turned. Devin sat 3 rows back, smirking. My heart stopped. He'd somehow learned about this. Of course he had. He always monitored me, always needed to prove his superiority. I looked at my remaining $100. Then at Mrs. Bolton sitting beside me, who squeezed my hand. 3,100, I said, voice shaking. Devin laughed. 32. The auctioneer looked at me. I had nothing left. Sold. I walked out of that auction feeling crushed. Devin found me outside, his smugness radioactive. Thanks for the tip, sis, he said. That property's going to make me a fortune. Maybe I'll hire you to clean it. I watched him leave, rage and humiliation burning through me. Mrs. Bolton touched my shoulder. There were 3 properties, Kenya. He only knows about one. The next auction was in 2 weeks. I needed $6,000 for both properties and their taxes. I had $100 in no time. That night, Mrs. Bolton introduced me to someone she called an old student. His name was James Wellington, a black man in his 60s who'd built a portfolio of rental properties across the city. He'd grown up poor, put himself through school, and now owned a private investment firm. Mrs. Bolton says you're hungry, he said, studying me across the table at a dim sum restaurant. Hunger's good. But I need to know, are you smart? I pulled out my certifications, my analysis of the 2 remaining properties, and my 5-year projection for the neighborhood. I'd spent 3 days preparing it, cross-referencing census data, business permits, and infrastructure development plans. He read silently for 10 minutes. Then he laughed, a big, genuine sound. You know Devin Hartley? He asked suddenly. My stomach dropped. He's my stepbrother. He pitched me last month. Wanted backing for some investment scheme. Slick presentation, empty substance. I passed. He looked at me harder. He mentioned a sister who didn't understand business. That you? Yes. James smiled. Then I'm going to enjoy this. I'll fund your properties, call it a loan at 3% interest. You'll pay me back when you sell or refinance. But Kenya. His expression hardened. Don't make me regret trusting Mrs. Bolton's judgment. You won't, I promised. 2 weeks later, I owned 2 properties. Devin didn't even know to look for them. While he celebrated his single purchase, I was already planning renovations, researching grant programs for neighborhood development, and building something he couldn't imagine. The game had begun. The properties were disasters. Roof damage, plumbing nightmares, electrical systems that would have horrified inspectors. I learned to do basic repairs myself. YouTube videos at 2 a.m., blistered hands, mistakes that cost money I didn't have. But slowly they transformed. I rented the first house to a young family for below market rates with a lease-to-own option. They maintained it like their own because it was becoming their own. The second property I renovated and sold within 8 months for triple what I'd paid, clearing my debt to James with $8,000 profit remaining. Not bad, he said when I handed him the check. Most people would have quit. You want to know what separates successful people from everyone else? What? Successful people keep going when it stops being fun. When your hands bleed and your back hurts and everyone you know thinks you're crazy. He paused. You ready to go bigger? Over the next 2 years, James became my mentor in ways Mrs. Bolton couldn't. He taught me about commercial properties, corporate debt acquisition, and the art of calculated risk. I bought 4 more properties, then 6, then 10. Small deals, smart deals, building capital and reputation. I lived lean. Same studio apartment, same thrift store clothes. Every dollar went back into investments. While Devin posted Instagram photos of bottle service and luxury watches, I was at city planning meetings studying zoning changes, identifying the next neighborhood that would boom. At Sunday dinners, which I still attended out of obligation to my father, they'd ask what I was doing. This and that, I'd say. Making it work. Patricia would exchange glances with Gloria. Devin would smirk. Still doing people's taxes or whatever? Something like that. Aaron and Tasha got engaged. The announcement came via text, followed by a wedding invitation. I didn't respond. Year 3, I made my first 6-figure profit on a commercial building renovation. Year 4, I acquired my first debt portfolio. Small medical debts and credit card accounts the original creditors had abandoned. I was 28 when I discovered Henderson and Associates was failing. The news came through James, who heard it from a colleague. The firm had made aggressive investments in a retail sector that collapsed. They were hemorrhaging money, losing clients, facing potential bankruptcy. Henderson's looking for a buyer, James mentioned casually over coffee. Keep it in mind. Could be opportunity there. I started watching. Devin's Instagram posts became less frequent, less flashy. Gloria looked stressed at Sunday dinners. When I asked Dad how everyone was doing, he shrugged. Devin's talking about some problems at work. Nothing major, he says. But I knew it was major. I'd learned to read financial distress signals the way doctors read vital signs. Henderson and Associates was circling the drain, and they were too proud to admit it. Meanwhile, my portfolio had grown to 32 properties and 3 small business partnerships. I'd quietly bought a modest house in a good neighborhood. Nothing flashy, just mine. I drove a 10-year-old sedan. Wore the same rotation of professional clothes. Kept my life private. The only people who knew my success were James, Mrs. Bolton, and my father, who I'd told carefully, making him promise not to share with Patricia or Devin. Why? He'd asked, confused by the secrecy. Because they don't get to know until I'm ready, Daddy. They don't get to celebrate what they tried to kill. He'd looked at me sadly then, understanding dawning. My father was a good man but weak. He'd chosen peace over protection, had let Patricia and Devin's cruelty slide for years because confrontation scared him. I'm proud of you, baby girl, he'd said quietly. Your mama would be too. That was enough. By year 5, I'd built relationships with 3 banks, served on 2 community development boards, and had a reputation in financial circles as someone who turned garbage into gold. My net worth had crossed into 7 figures. Modest by some standards, but mine. All mine. Then James called with the opportunity that would change everything. First National Bank is taking over Henderson and Associates' debt portfolio. They're liquidating everything, including the firm itself. The bank's also foreclosing on several properties. My pulse quickened. What properties? James sent me the foreclosure list. My hands shook reading it. Devon's investment property, the one he'd outbid me for, was on it. He'd taken out a massive loan for renovations that never materialized, defaulted on payments. The property was worth less than he owed. But that wasn't all. Aaron and Tasha's home. A sprawling suburban house they'd bought 2 years ago, well beyond their means. They were 6 months behind on payments. And the shocking one, Aunt Gloria's brownstone. The family property she'd inherited from my grandmother, the one she'd refinanced repeatedly to fund her lifestyle. She was 8 months delinquent, facing immediate foreclosure. I sat in James's office, staring at the list. "You know these people," he said carefully. It wasn't a question. "I do. First National is looking for investors to take over the foreclosure portfolio. They want someone who'll handle it quietly, efficiently. I recommended you." He paused. "But Kenya, you need to think hard about this. Mixing business with personal is exactly what they did to me," I finished. "When Devon took my job. When Gloria recommended him over her own niece. When Aaron left me broken. This is different. This is their homes. And my job was my home. My relationship was my home. They burned both down," and laughed. I looked at him. "I'm not going to be cruel, but I'm going to be fair. And fairness means they face the same consequences anyone else would." James studied me for a long moment. "You've changed from that scared girl at the auction." "That girl died when they killed her," I said. "I'm who survived." He nodded slowly. "Then let's talk strategy. First National wants a decision by Friday. The portfolio includes 17 properties total, not just theirs. You'll need to put up significant capital." I ran the numbers that night. To acquire the entire portfolio, I'd need to liquidate some assets, take on debt, and risk a significant portion of my net worth. If I failed, I'd lose years of work. But if I succeeded, I'd own their desperation, their karma, their reckoning. I called James Thursday night. "I'm in." The foreclosure notices went out on a Tuesday. I wasn't there to see their faces, but I heard about it. Devon called my father, panicking. "They're taking everything. The bank won't negotiate. That I need help. Can you ask Kenya if she has any connections?" My father, to his credit, called me honestly. "Son, what do you want me to say?" "Tell him I'll see what I can do," I said. "Give me his number." That evening I called Devon from my office. A real office now in a building I partially owned. He answered on the first ring. "Kenya. Thank God. Dad said you might help. Look, I know we haven't always been close, but family is family, right? This bank is being unreasonable. I just need someone who understands finance to talk to them, explain that I'm good for it." "Tell me about the property," I said professionally. He did, his voice desperate. The renovations had cost more than projected. His contractor had disappeared mid-job. He tried to flip it, but the market had shifted. Now he was underwater. "The bank is being predatory," he insisted. "They won't even return my calls. Some investment group bought my debt and they're just cold. Heartless." "What investment group?" I asked, knowing the answer. "Something called KDM Holdings. Ever heard of them?" "Kenya Denise Matthews Holdings. My initials. My company. I'd registered it 3 years ago." "I might have," I said. "I'll make some calls." "Really? Can you? Thank you. I know I haven't always been the best brother, but..." "Let me see what I can do," I interrupted. "I'll be in touch." I hung up and sat in the darkness of my office. The city lights spread below me, thousands of lives intersecting, struggling, surviving. Somewhere out there, Devon was probably celebrating, telling Tasha and Patricia that his sister was going to save him. They had no idea I was the fire, not the firefighter. The next call came 2 days later. "Aaron." His voice was tight, scared. "Kenya, I know I'm the last person who should ask, but we're in trouble. Real trouble. I heard you're doing well in real estate now, and I thought maybe..." "Maybe what, Aaron?" "Pause. Maybe you could help." Sunday dinner became a war zone. Devon had invited me specifically, desperately. Patricia cooked her special pot roast, the one she used to make for important occasions. Gloria was there, looking 20 years older than last month, her usual confidence shattered. "Kenya, honey, Patricia started, using an endearment she'd never employed before. "We're so proud of how you've done for yourself. Your father says you're quite successful now." I cut my roast, chewing slowly. "I do all right. The thing is," Devon jumped in, "we're in a situation. A temporary situation. This bank, they're being aggressive." "First National," Gloria interrupted. "They sold our debt to some vulture fund. KDM Holdings. They're refusing to negotiate reasonable payment plans." I sipped my water. "That's unfortunate." "Unfortunate." Gloria's voice rose. "Kenya, this is family crisis. Your cousin Tasha and Aaron are about to lose their home. Devon's losing his investment property. And my brownstone, my mother's house, they're trying to take it. We need you to help us find options." "What kind of options?" I asked. Aaron, sitting beside a pale Tasha, leaned forward. "You know people in banking now, right? Maybe you could talk to someone at First National, explain that we're good people who hit bad times. Or maybe you know someone at KDM Holdings who'd be willing to work with us." "I know someone," I said quietly. Hope bloomed around the table. Patricia actually smiled. "Who?" Devon asked eagerly. "Me." The silence was absolute. "What?" Gloria said finally. I set down my fork, meeting each of their eyes. "KDM Holdings is my company. I bought your debt portfolio 3 weeks ago. The foreclosure notices you received were from me." Devon laughed nervously. "That's not funny, Kenya. It's not a joke. I own your properties now, or I will when the foreclosure process is complete. All of them. Devon's failed investment. Aaron and Tasha's overextended dream home. And Aunt Gloria, your brownstone that you refinanced 5 times to fund your lifestyle while looking down on my father's limited potential." Patricia stood. "This is ridiculous. Kenya, stop playing." "Sit down," I said, and something in my voice made her obey. "5 years ago you watched Devon take my job. You laughed when I was fired. Aunt Gloria, you recommended him over me, your own sister's child. Aaron, you left me broken for my cousin. None of you asked if I was okay. None of you cared." Gloria found her voice first. "You're doing this for revenge? You'd put your family on the street for revenge." "No," I said calmly. "I'm doing this because it's business. The same business you all celebrated when it benefited you. When Devon got my position, that was restructuring. When you refinanced Grandma's house the 5th time for a European vacation, that was financial planning. When Aaron took my savings for his degree then left, that was just life happens. But now that the consequences have caught up, now it's family." Tasha spoke for the first time, tears streaming. "Kenya, I'm pregnant. We're having a baby. Please, you can't do this." The table gasped. Aaron grabbed her hand. I felt something twist in my chest. Not guilt, but recognition of pain. "Congratulations," I said quietly. "Truly. But Tasha, you started dating my boyfriend while we were still together. You're carrying the child of a man who left me homeless to fund his future. Your circumstances don't erase those choices." "So what?" Devon exploded. "You're just going to take everything? Destroy us because your feelings got hurt 5 years ago?" "My feelings got hurt?" I repeated, voice deadly quiet. "You didn't hurt my feelings, Devon. You tried to destroy my life. You systematically undermined me at Henderson and Associates. You told Henderson I was too emotional for complex accounts. You doctored reports to make me look incompetent. I found the emails last year when Henderson's files were part of the bankruptcy proceedings. All of it, every lie, every sabotage, documented." Devon's face drained of color. "You wanted me to know my place," I continued. "Well, I learned it. My place is up here." I gestured around. "Successful. Independent. Whole. Your place." I smiled without warmth. "That's up to you now." Gloria tried another tactic, voice breaking. "Your mother, my sister, would be ashamed of you." "My mother," I said standing, "taught me that money is about understanding power. You threw away her books, Aunt Gloria. Called them trash from a secretary. But I saved 3. I built an empire from her notes in the margins. And you know what? She'd be proud that I survived you." I walked to the door. "You have 60 days before the foreclosures finalize. You can try to refinance, find buyers, or negotiate with me as you would any lender. I'm not unreasonable." The next week, they each reached out separately. Devon first, alternating between rage and pleading. He offered me half his salary for 5 years. I declined. He threatened to sue. I sent him his own emails. Proof of his sabotage. You destroyed yourself, Devon, I told him in our last conversation. I'm just holding the mirror. Aaron tried a different approach. He apologized, genuinely it seemed. Explained that leaving me was the biggest mistake of his life. That he'd been young and stupid and cruel. I believe you, I said. But Aaron, consequences don't care about growth. You hurt me when I was at my lowest. Now you're at yours. That's not revenge. That's symmetry. Tasha sent me a letter. 5 pages, handwritten, detailing her own struggles with self-worth, admitting she'd pursued Aaron partially to hurt me to prove she was better. She begged for mercy for her unborn child. I read it 3 times, crying the 3rd time. Then I arranged a meeting. I'll give you 12 months, I told them in my office. 12 months to get your finances together. I'll hold the foreclosure if you make minimum payments, significantly reduced. But Tasha, you need to understand something. Your baby deserves stability. This is your chance to build it honestly. She sobbed with relief. Aaron thanked me. I felt no satisfaction. Gloria was last. She came to my office in clothes I recognized, the suit she'd worn to my mother's funeral. I should have protected you, she said without preamble. After your mother died, you were my responsibility. Instead, I punished you for Patricia's existence, for your father's weakness. I saw your mother in you and it hurt too much. So you tried to kill what you saw, I finished. Yes. She looked broken. I'm sorry, Kenya. Truly. I don't expect forgiveness. But your mother was my best friend before she was your mother. She'd want you to know that becoming like me, cold, calculating, vindictive, isn't strength. It's surrender. Those words haunted me for days. Was I surrendering to cruelty? Becoming what hurt me? I called James. Tell me the truth. Am I wrong? Wrong? No. But are you satisfied? That's the real question. I wasn't. The victory tasted like ashes. I restructured all their debts. Devon got a payment plan that required accountability but didn't destroy him. Aaron and Tasha kept their home with conditions. Financial counseling, budgeting assistance. Gloria lost the brownstone, but I helped her find affordable housing. They didn't thank me. Not really. Devon still posts on social media, carefully avoiding mention of our history. Aaron and Tasha moved across the country after their baby was born. A girl they named Kennedy, which felt like pointed acknowledgement. Gloria sends Christmas cards, but we don't speak. My father hugs me longer now at Sunday dinners. Your mama would be so proud, he whispers, but his eyes are sad. He knows what this journey cost me, not money but softness. I'm 33 now. Successful beyond measure. I own 47 properties, sit on 3 boards, mentor young women like Mrs. Bolton mentored me. Last month, I bought Henderson and Associates remains and restructured it as a firm dedicated to training underrepresented professionals in finance. But I'm also alone. I haven't dated seriously since Aaron. Haven't let anyone close enough to hurt me. Mrs. Bolton died last year, peacefully in her sleep, and I scattered her ashes in the park where we used to discuss investments. James retired and I bought his firm. I'm surrounded by success and haunted by emptiness. Last week I visited my mother's grave for the first time in years. Knelt in the grass and told her everything. The victories, the pain, the hollowness of winning when you've lost yourself. Did I do right, Mama? I whispered. The wind rustled leaves. No answer came. I learned that revenge isn't sweet. It's exhausting. That boundaries, even righteous ones, isolate you. That you can win every battle and still lose the war for your own soul. The moral? Justice and cruelty share a border thinner than we'd like to believe. They laughed when I was broken. I survived when they broke. We're all still bleeding, just better dressed now. And the saddest part? I'd trade every property, every victory, every moment of their desperation for one more day when I believed family meant something. But you can't unlearn betrayal. You can only decide what to build from the ashes. I built an empire. I just wish it felt more like home. If this story resonated with you, please like, comment, and subscribe. Share your own stories of betrayal and survival in the comments below. And remember, success is the best revenge, but healing is the better victory. What would you have done in Kenya's position? Let me know below and let's continue this conversation about family, boundaries, and the cost of justice.